Alright, now that we've gone over the different autoresponders that you'll be using with your email cache project, there is one final note I want to bring up, and that note is to remind you to be educated about the CAN-SPAM Act of 2003. What is it all about? Well, simply put, none of us like unsolicited spam, and I'm sure you have had your share, as have I, of waking up in the morning and opening your inbox to find tons of unsolicited and sometimes very unsavory emails advertising the craziest of things. And that's what the CAN-SPAM Act was created for, to protect consumers from scams and to protect consumers from receiving massive amounts of unsolicited emails. It's important as an email marketer that you're aware of what the law requires and the rules and regulations you must abide by, and then also, the ramifications of what happens if you don't follow those rules. Now, the good news is the autoresponders that you'll be using actually have required that the person opt in, as was explained in the very first video of this set. They actually have to opt in to receive the emails, and that's a huge thing because that's already half the battle. They have already said yes to receiving the email, so that's important. But even though that's half the battle there is a little bit more that you need to be aware of. And in some of the information we've given you with the email cache project, there are some websites that we've linked to, and I guess one of the biggest ones, of course, is the Federal Trade Commission website that lists in detail the different aspects of the CAN-SPAM Act. And then also there's some other sites like the Legal Archiver. And then also the Federal Trade Commission has some other sites that kind of summarize and kind of make it palatable for all of us to really just get the gist, or the main content of what rules and regulations we need to abide by. Let's go over a few of them though, just so that we can kind of get a real brief understanding of how it will affect you in your endeavor to be an email marketer. Alright, so right here on the Federal Trade Commission website, there's a couple of things right off the bat that the law requires you to do. Okay, so first of all, you need to make sure that your header doesn't have any false or misleading information. And the header is the from and the to information, that you have at the top of your email, and also routing information. So you are required when sending out these emails to have your routing information right. So it has to come from the domain name that you're sending it from, and it also has to contain your email address. It can't be hidden. So basically all the information must accurately identify the person who actually initiated the email. The good news about this is that since you're using an autoresponder, all you have to do is make sure that the information in your autoresponder account is accurate. If you got that taken care of, then you won't have to worry about having any misleading header information, and this is not something you have to worry about too much then. Now, the next rule is that the CAN-SPAM Act prohibits deceptive or misleading subject lines. And, this makes a lot of sense, and it's actually pretty logical. If you're going to be sending an email about a work at home opportunity, you want to make sure that your email subject line, says something to that extent. I mean, you don't want to put something crazy on your email subject line like, open up this email or your computer will be taken over by a virus, right? I mean, it has absolutely nothing to do with the offer that you are putting to your various email leads and clients. So you want to make sure that it's pretty accurate. I mean, you definitely have the right to make it attractive and catchy, but make sure it actually deals with what you are offering them. Now, with regard to the email cache project, one of the easiest ways, of course, is to go to your affiliate account where you found the offer, or where you got the offer, and most likely they're going to have a bunch of different possible subject lines for you there. And most likely those have been well researched, and have gone through different semantic tests to make sure that there are high converting subject lines. So that's one of the best ways to get your subject line, and to make sure that you're definitely not putting in misleading or deceptive subject lines. Now, the next thing that the law requires is that each of the emails you send out, that you give your recipients, must have an opt-out method. Any of you who have subscribed to a list know that if they're following the rules, on the bottom of any email you receive from that person you've opted in with, it's going to have either a link or some sort of method for you to opt out to no longer receive their emails. And it is required by law, this CAN Spam Act, that you provide that opt-out. Now, again, with the email cache project, because you are using autoresponders, the autoresponders actually set up your campaign with this option automatically. So it's great that way, and you know that the autoresponders are abiding by all these different laws. Now, of course, a good recommendation is for you to go ahead and preview each email campaign before you send it out, and you could even do that just by opting in yourself and opening up an email account, opting in yourself, and previewing each of the different emails that are sent out. And make sure that an opt-out link is provided at the bottom of every email, and that's a real easy way to do it, and it will keep you in check and make sure that you are offering them an opt-out method on every single email. And along those same lines, the law also mandates that you identify yourself with your valid physical postal address, and also, and this is a real important one, your email message must be identified as an advertisement. So when you're within the context of your email, your message must contain clear and conspicuous notice that the message is an advertisement, and that the recipient can opt out of receiving more commercial email from you. And so again, and it says, as you can probably read right here, it also must include your valid physical postal address. Again, the great part about using the autoresponders that we have suggested or recommended to you is that all of them have already, as long as you've applied correctly and put valid information in your autoresponder accounts, all the autoresponders take care of all of this for you right off the bat. So as long as you fill out all the forms on those websites correctly, then you have nothing to worry about, and you're completely within within the realm of making sure that you are abiding by this CAN Spam Act in its entirety. So that's basically, in summary, what the CAN Spam Act is all about. And there are a couple other things, and please feel free to visit those websites about the CAN Spam Act. The Federal Trade Commission is probably one of the best ones to visit, and go ahead and read through it and be educated on it. And even though the autoresponders that you'll be working with the email cache project are well versed on the ins and outs of this particular law, any serious email marketer needs to be up to date on the important laws that are related to their industry. So make sure you keep up to date with any changes and additions to this law, and make sure you always abide by them. If you abide by these laws and you effectively use your autoresponders, then you're well on your way to being a master email marketer.